So it's no secret at this point that I absolutely freaking adore everything about Skirmish Season. I believe that it brings the best of what Flesh and Blood has to offer directly to the LGS. Not only these tournaments happen at the local level, but they're also casual competitive, which means that new players can have their very first foray into what we would consider competitive, in many cases playing alongside what we would consider top tier players for relatively low stakes and in a casual, fun, and comfortable environment. And that's why whenever I'm offered the opportunity to host one of these things, I jump on it. And this last weekend at Gongaii Games, I had the opportunity to host a Skirmish Season 9 event. We've hosted many skirmishes, and this one I was super excited for, just like everyone I've done before. So in today's video, what I want to do is recap that event. It was an absolutely great time. We're going to go through the event, talk about what happened in the field, and then at the end, I actually have permission to share the winner's deck list, so we're going to go through that as well. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my Flesh and Blood friends. Welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. And thanks for tuning in today for my recap of this last weekend's skirmish event at Gongaii Games in Portland, Oregon, USA. You may have hopped on for the live stream, and if you did, thank you so much for joining us. Great time. It's always great to have folks and the feedback on the stream. But what matters most is getting that community in the store and really getting to interact with folks. And I was very, very, very excited about this. It was very important to me to jump on the very first opportunity we could have. That's why I chose August 24th, which was the first day we could. At noon, basically 1 hour after the shop opened, give people setup time, and we were off to the races. So the whole tournament itself took 4 hours and 37 minutes. 5 rounds of Swiss, that's right, 27 players, 5 rounds of Swiss, then the top 8, 4 hours, 37 minutes, and then that's right, off with the vast majority, well, a good number of the folks that were there met us at the tap house after, and we just had a good time hanging out, and isn't that why we're here? Isn't that why we're here? But why you're here is to hear about the event itself. So, as I mentioned, we did have 27 players, so the event was 28 is what I capped it at. Now, I can actually fit just slightly more than that in the main room at Gongaii. As you're aware from the larger events we do, the warehouse can fit 60, technically 62, but it's uncomfortable. So 60 is what I usually do, but in the garage, or in the main playroom, we can fit 30. The reason I capped it at 28 was because the LSS prize kit contained 28 physical prizes if you split it out across the folks. And I wanted everybody to leave with something. So I left 2 spots on the table, and then we had 1 no-show that day that there was no one on the waiting list, so we ended up with 27. So the main field breakdown you do see here is 6 Zen, 3 Victors, 2 Briars, 2 New, 2 Emperors, 2 Levia, and then one ofs all of Rhinar, Dromai, Benji, Datadol, Dash, Vincent, Azalea, Blaze, Lexi, Riptide, and then Advent Prism. I was surprised to not see a normal Prism, because we usually have pretty good representation in Portland of that, but so be it. And actually, while we're doing this, I'm going to go ahead and turn on this slideshow in the background so that you can see the pictures and stuff that I took of the event as we go through this. All right. Now, so that was the main field. So as I mentioned, there was 27 players, 5 rounds of Swiss. What ended up happening overall through Swiss was we really saw a vast majority of the Zens rise to the top. Blaze was doing quite well. But Archer Taylor, who ended up winning the event, shout out to Archer, on Levia really just dominated the event. He was on stream a lot because he was very much just going through the tables. He went 5-0 through Swiss. Very, very, very impressive player. He's been on here multiple times. We've talked to him and just dominated the event. So congratulations to Archer. Obviously, I'm not trying to hide anything, right? We all know he did. If you've seen the post, I'm not hiding any secrets here. Let's go into the top 8. Okay, so the top 8 players, we had Archer Taylor at 5-0. We had Kevin at 4-1. He was on Briar. We had Aaron Nash on Zen at 4-1. Stephen Morgan, that's right on Blaze at 4-1 in the 4 slot. Sean Cowan, Briar Boy, 4-1. Tristan Sedlashek's been on this. When we've been doing tourney recaps for this or other stuff, Tristan's been on there multiple times, so no stranger to the top cuts, 4-1. Dylan Dart, obviously many wins under his belt. He was on Zen at 3-1. And then Sarah, we're extremely proud of Sarah. This was her first top 8 ever, and she did it so at her home store. So congratulations, Sarah. We are super proud of you. So picture up here right now of the top 8 players from left to right. We have Tristan there. Then we have Aaron in the white shirt. And then in the raccoon shirt there, you see Steven. And then you see the DC folks there in the middle all hugging, right? So we have Stephen Morgan. We have Sean Cowan there in the jersey with the LSS hat on. Crazy Kevin there in the green shirt. We have Dylan in the back there with the smile, and that's right, Sarah in the front. And then the big winner there on the right, whose beautiful face you've already seen, is Archer Taylor. So congratulations all to the top 8. Now, once we did get into the top 8, we had Archer versus Sarah, which was an interesting brute off match. If Sarah had hit, it could have gone a very different way, but Archer was able to basically swing fist first. I think that's a card, right? Isn't it swing fist, think later? Yeah, I think it is. So he was able to swing fist, hit first, think later, and was able to punch through on Sarah. So Steven was matched up against Sean. That's a really bad matchup, or I guess depending on which side of the table you're sitting, it's a very unfavorable matchup for Blaze, and Sean was able to stick that one through on Steven. We had a Zen off on Aaron and Tristan, and then Kevin up against Dylan for the basically 50-50 match on maybe it's like 51-49, but Kevin did go down to Dylan. They're in the top 8, little DC team on DC team violence. And actually one thing I failed to note is we actually put 5 DC team folks in the top 8 of this event. Now you'd say, well, it's your home store. There was a whole bunch of you there, which is true, but we were not 5/8 of the field, right? So I want to give a huge shout out to the DC team boys who did very well. And then actually, fun fact, next day at Fab Foundry's skirmish, we actually put 4 in the top 8. So it was a very good weekend for the DC team crew. And congratulations to all of you. All right, moving into the semifinals, we had Archer on Levia up against Sean on Briar. This one was not on stream because I wanted to make sure we got some disparity there. But this one was closer than some of the ones we'd seen, but Archer pretty much had this one in hand. And then on the Zen off, Aaron ended up pulling that one off, which took us to the final, which was Levia versus Zen. Could have gone either way, but first strike and the cold foil Blaze went to Archer Taylor. So again, congratulations, Archer. Super awesome. And yeah, great time. So again, if you had a chance to catch us live, that's awesome. If not, it is still up there and you can totally check it out at your leisure. I actually went back on Monday morning and I put all the timestamps in so you don't have to sit through my totally awesome slides, by the way. I put a lot of work into those intermission slides, but I do get it. Now let's go ahead and go through for the rest of the recap here on Archer's deck. Now, Archer did give me permission to share this. That comes with a slight exception that he said it's actually Mansant's deck. So I will link Mansant's video in all due credit below, and I'll do it up here as well because I want to make sure that we are giving credit to the right people. That said, we've had many requests for the deck. Very few of which were done politely. You all have some stuff to learn out there in the asking for deck list world, but it is the internet, so I get it. All right, so what you see up here is his actual deck list submission sheet, obviously zoomed in. But for weapons and equipment, we have the Carrion Husk, 2 Claws, Scaling Flush Bag, of course, I think is great. Learning how to use that at the right time, very critical. Apex Bonebreaker, the Dance of Darkness, Savage Sash, because why the heck would you not? Skullhorn, the Arcane Lantern, Grasp of Darkness, Scabbies, and then, of course, the Demigod, which I don't think I ever actually saw that weekend, but Archer may have to correct us in the comments below because I was not watching every single one of Archer's matches. Now, when we go into the reds, we've got 2 Boneyard Marauders, 2 Dread Screamers. Man, that thing did work this weekend. Endless Maw, 2 Pulping, also a great kill shot, 2 Shadow Realm Horrors. Man, I don't know who Ethan had to pay off at LSS to get that card made with all of his flying around the world and recording. Maybe he was just able to get in somebody's ear. Man, that card is crazy. We've got Shadowpede, Swing Big, and Wild Ride. In terms of the yellows, Art of War, so good with a Slithering Pede or something like that, but it's just good in general. Beast Within, of course, Blood Rush Bellows, 2 Graveling Growls, and then 2 Mark of the Beasts. Then moving into the blues, that's right, 14 blues, okay, 14 blues, 2 Barraging Beatdowns, 2 Deadwood Rumblers, 1 Doomsday, 2 Dread Screamers for that 4 Go Again, not a bad deal, 2 Reckless Swings, 1 Soul Harvest, 2 Tear Limb from Limbs, and then 2 Record Roms. So again, if you go through and you watch some of the videos, or even if you don't, Archer made serious like turn 0 work out of Tear Limb from Limb. It's like Tear Limb from Limb into Swing Big on turn 0. It happened at least a couple of times, no joke. It's good. It's pretty good in the Blitz format. It's pretty good, and never mention the fact that like you can block 6 in the match that he needs to, or just do stupid things with Savage Sash. Pretty fun, pretty awesome deck. So that's right, a win for Levia on the weekend, and then again, congratulations to Archer. So a couple fun stories through the weekend. We had, as I mentioned, 27 players there, but we had some folks there who have been playing with us for maybe not less than a month, but like right around a month, 5 weeks, something like that. Felt comfortable coming to the tournament, right? And I really want to encourage Legend Story Studios to continue doing what they're doing with Skirmish Season because of stuff like that. And I think the importance, I know this to be true. I know it to be true that those individuals would not have had that same experience with Living Legend format and Skirmish. Now, someone's going to be like, oh, dislike, alleging Legend's better format. You know what? Maybe it is. I don't care, right? But in terms of the point of Skirmish, which is doing this in your LGS, building community within your LGS, the point of building community means growing community, not just reinforcing community and not just being there to fight for a cold foil. Right. So I really want to stress the importance of maintaining the casual atmosphere, which I think is slightly difficult to do in Living Legend format. And on top of that, I really want to highlight something. Again, not that anybody's watching at this point in the video anymore. I get it. But there was another skirmish that happened in the same town that happened at 1 o'clock, or either noon or 1 o'clock. Same day. Point is, 2 skirmishes, same town, same time. Mine sold out. Theirs had 11 players. Theirs was LL and mine was Blitz. So as much as the community is like, well, LL is better, we want LL. Well, that is just the loudest voices in the community. That does not represent who's actually going to these things, right? So we have in Portland, we have an extremely competitive community, extremely skilled community. But 2 events at the same time, 1 Blitz, 1 LL, 1 sells out, 1 gets 11 players. Why do we think that is? One of them is more welcoming than the other one, is the truth. That is the only conclusion that I can really come to. Other than I take it as a compliment that people wanted to come play at our store. Which, you know what, environment plays into that too. I think that says a lot towards the choice. So, someone's going to take that as me pooping on the LL format. That's not the case. It's really not, truly from my heart, that's not the case. I'm just trying to reinforce the importance of what Skirmish Season does and what it brings to our LGS. And we have data points to prove it. At least in my case. At least in my single case that you can ignore if you want. But I think it's worth taking something away. Last thing I do have to say, if LSS is watching this, this season's kit was super awesome with being, well, there's the whole Blaze thing going on, right? But the kit was very attractive, right? The CMH cold foils, very in high demand. The Blaze cold foil, very in high demand. However, one thing I would really like to see change for future skirmishes, because in the past, it's always been a top 8. And it's been top 8 for skirmish, top 8 pricing for skirmish is what I mean, right? And that really tracks because when you get a skirmish above 17 players, or above 16 players, it's a top 8 cut. And actually, it might actually be 9. Actually, I'll put it up. But point is, when you get enough players in your store, it's a top 8 cut. And it really feels bad to cut the top 8 and not have pricing for top 8. Now, obviously, we as a store had additional pricing. That's not an issue, right? In terms of them walking away with something or having something to quote unquote play for. But in many past skirmishes, we've seen, cold foil Fies and Dromais, 4 of each for the top 8. And this time, in my opinion, it felt really bad to only have a top 4 pricing when the guidelines are to cut to top 8. So that is the feedback I would offer to LSS in the future, is that, I think having top 8 pricing and then, top 8 and 1 for the winner, I think that's fine, right? I think it's fine. People accept that every week when they go to Skirmish, since this is done in LGS, I think that translates very well. But I think what didn't necessarily translate well this time was the fact that you'd make top 8, you'd have to stay around for that extra game because you made the cut, but you didn't get anything for it aside from store pricing. So that's just some indirect feedback. Take it or leave it. But either way, with all the pseudo negative or with the constructive feedback, I again really want to thank you, LSS. I'm talking to LSS right now. These events matter. These events are awesome. Do not stop doing this. So thank you so much for Skirmish season. Thank you all for watching, and go Commando.